I'd like to call this 7 o'clock, Monday, March 11th, 2024. We'll have a roll call of officers.
We have Pete Unzia, Don Gotcher, Sarah Heisler, Chris Clear, Rose Sowers, and Dan Wolf present.
Open meeting law compliance check.
We are compliant.
We all please stand for a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. To begin with, I'd like to welcome, introduce Teresa Bartley, our new clerk. She's got everything figured out already.
We're getting there.
Okay, then we'll go to public input. Anyone have any public input? If not, we'll move on to Belgium Area Chamber of Commerce report.
First of all, just want to let you know the group really went very well. I know some of you guys were there, so thanks for attending. Thanks also to the fire department and village crew for their help and to all of our sponsors. It was a good time. And we'll be talking about, kind of what we thought went well and any changes we may want to make, but I'm hoping it's something that can come back in. So it's pretty cool.
More
And then-
food.
What's that?
More food.
Yeah. Definitely. I think they had no idea that that many people would actually show up. And they did, so it was a good problem. So coming up next, we have the Belgian Easter egg hunt this Saturday, March 30th at 11 o'clock at Heritage Park. Then that same week, we have our job fair at the high school. So if anyone knows of any businesses who are hiring, or if anyone wants to talk about their careers, it's a great opportunity to get in front of the whole high school. And that will be on Wednesday, April 3rd from 9 to 11 a.m. And then we're also working on Bruin Show, and that's coming up Saturday, April 27th back at Beacon Farms. Does anyone have any questions about anything? Or?
No, I just want to make the comment as I was telling that earlier that I'm just sorry that I missed it. For some reason, I got my dates mixed up and I was thinking it was this coming weekend. And
Those are
not-
rain dates, so you.
Oh,
weren't far
okay,
off,
well,
yeah.
in any event, I saw the pictures, they're awesome, it looked like Woodstock, that you had so many people there.
It was
so-
crowded, yeah.
It was crazy.
So-
Very well done.
Yeah. Yeah, so thanks for doing something.
Kudos for you,
So,
yeah.
You're on the committee, so thank you for your help. Yeah.
And I'll be there tomorrow.
Oh, good. All right.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to 7A, Marshall report.
Okay, for February, I issued 15 parking tickets, and I had one dog at large complaint, and then I had another lady call me complaining that she thought her neighbor came over on her side of the fence and dug up her flowers. So I went over and checked it out and figured out it was either a squirrel or a skunk dug them out. Little piles by each flower, and I made her happy. Other than that, it was pretty quiet.
Okay, question. Winter parking rules. Where do we stand on that right now?
Well, right now, I haven't been giving any out. The weather's too nice because Ford suspended theirs, West Bend suspended theirs. I figured I wasn't gonna push the issue no more unless we get a snowstorm. Other than that, I'm not gonna ticket anybody for parking on the streets.
You think we should put something on our website that they are open, but if there is snow, you gotta get your cars back in the garage driveway? I know,
We've got 3 weeks left on it.
and we got 3 weeks left.
I don't think we did last year when we kind of had the same situation. We didn't post anything about it, but it was just, but that's up to you. If you guys want me to, I'll do it. You tell me.
I think it's not a bad idea, just put out a temporary suspended winter parking, but please can't be advised if there's snow coming, park your vehicles back in driveways.
Because then you will get a ticket.
Yeah, okay, sure. I will get that on Facebook. And,
Okay.
Yeah. Because I've had a couple people call me and say, hey, I'm having some people over the weekend, can we park on the road? And I said, yeah, that's fine. But other than that, there's a few like, I could average maybe 4 or 5 a day, but the weather's too nice and everybody else was offended. I wasn't gonna give them a ticket for that.
It's hard to justify with 50 degrees on something.
Right.
And most snow.
Now you know the minute that we suspend it, it's gonna snow. And I'll blame all of you.
I've been blamed for worse. Anything else for Leon? Not, we'll move on to. I think, sports, we'll move on to. Number 8, consent agenda items. I can make a motion to approve. Village Board, February 12th, 2024. And Raymond. Okay, Raymond for bartender's license. Christine Raymond for bartender's license, 23-24.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Unfinished business. 9A, approve finance and personnel recommendation for rates for Main Street rental. We have the upstairs is pretty much set. The downstairs, we have an interested renter. Should hopefully find out within the next week or so what they want to do. There's only one question. Are we gonna allow them to have sublease? If we have one person that wants to rent out the whole bottom, will we allow them to sublease?
You guys are the boss. You can do whatever you want.
I mean, if
Are they interested in doing that?
it's something they're thinking about.
Will they assume responsibility for any damage that might be incurred by their sublessee?
That's something we have to put into the paperwork. I mean, we're still gonna take care of the maintenance of the building.
Brad, do you have any
Yeah.
input on that?
So my recommendation is if it's gonna be a different type of use, I mean, it's always better to have more than one tenant on the lease. So if they identify, if there's two, we can have the same lease with two tenants if they're somewhat sharing or whatever the arrangement is, but identifying the use with the commercial space is important. So, again, it might be cleaner just to have separate, but if they want to propose something that's a package, we just want to, we want to cover that in the lease itself. Like the type of use and who they are.
I guess, actually in theory, it's say this business is starting out and they're hoping to grow. So eventually they want to take over the whole bottom. But in the meantime, they wouldn't mind having extra income, down there. I mean, like, if they sublease, they would get the money, right?
Well, it depends on what we would allow them to do. I mean, because you can restrict commercial leases from allowing just anyone to occupy it. But if they want, if you want to turn it over to a tenant who's going to have presumably different uses, but office or like that sort of thing, we'd want it in the lease itself saying what they're allowed to do.
Well, we would have to approve whoever they want to put in there.
We want to make sure, so usually there's a landlord approval. It'll specify, to what extent, are you approving it based on the type of use, or do you want, just make sure it's a appropriate type of use or business or credit check, that sort of thing. I guess in a nutshell, just having it, covering it, in the lease, it'd be nice if they have someone. Or if you're gonna leave it like open space that they can determine, then we can put terms in, that landlord must approve. And then they have to come back for that.
So then would we control, would we control I know we control who goes in there, but would we control like the rent and everything? Or,
Depends on how we structure it in the lease itself.
so we can have them pay the whole rent for downstairs, but then they could get kickbacks from the subleases.
Yes, and again, that we would want a provision stating that they can do that. And again, it all depends on, typically a sublease is going to be when you have a tenant that wants to turn over their premise to someone else. This is going to be a more broader lease that essentially you're going to allow the tenant to market it and try to get someone to occupy that area, but it's going to be part of the premise is going to be the entire area. And again, the nice about commercial leases, you can be very flexible and we can do a lot of different things. We just want to make sure it's very clear in the lease, who's responsible for what.
And Brad, would it make a difference how we approach this, with the long-term goal in mind that this business might take over the entire, first floor once they find their footing? So, Pete, do we wanna kind of address that? Cause it sounds like this, sublease situation might be a very short-term
Well,
situation.
The other issue is, I mean, if you're looking at it year to year, it's relative from a commercial lease standpoint, it's pretty short term in and of itself, so.
Okay.
If, you know, it's not like, I don't think we're talking doing a long-term lease with any tenant, so. You have the opportunity, if you do separate it initially, to allow, you know, a renewal time, or, you know, to pick a different tenant if it came down to it.
So I know our other two rentals we're doing month to month. So,
Okay.
So right now, finance and personnel did make a recommendation of rates. So you guys do need to act one way, either to approve or deny them. However, you're not binding yourself to those rates. Those are just the starting point. You can certainly negotiate with the tenant to do, you know, I think you might have a hard time negotiating higher once they've been publicly record. But, you know, if you guys want to negotiate and come in lower, that's your prerogative. This is not binding you to those rates. This is just, essentially setting a starting point for negotiation.
okay, the rent we have now is for $650, which I think is the west side. We have that set at, no, that's the east side for $700 a month. The west side is $656, that's at $1,100 a month. Combined, we had $1,500, but I guess that can be negotiable.
Oh, yeah, you guys can do whatever
You
you
know?
want. This again, you know, the finance and personnel meant to talk about it because it's very hard to meet with people who might be interested if you have no idea of what we're looking at for rent. So this gives a starting point. Now, at that point, if we can talk to people who are interested, and if they have a different price or we agree, then it comes back to the board to approve the final lease once that's been determined. But this is just, so don't feel like this is binding you to anything.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to approve finance and personnel recommendation of rates for Main Street rentals.
motion's been made and second. Any other discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Approved plumbing repairs for Main Street. What address is that? 654, which is the upstairs rental. Evidently, there's some problem with the dishwasher, with the drainage problem. Wash machine? Okay, and
Hold on, you guys skipped 7 or 9B. Is it in a different order on here?
It's in a
Oh,
different order
it
on
is,
that.
I'm
The
sorry.
motion sheet,
I
yeah.
have it in the wrong order. Go ahead.
so the wash machine needs to be replumbed. And Pat got a quote. And what's that, $3,300?
So when we were putting everything back together, we ran, just ran the wash machine, make sure it was working, and it, when it drained down, it came up through the kitchen sink. So it's not plumbed to code. I didn't really catch up with it. Going through it. So I did have Ruben's Plumbing come over. We looked through a number of different options to fix it. One was to vent it out through to run a vent through the ceiling and then up to the roof. So we can do roof on there. We don't want to be damaging the flat roof. We did a bunch of measuring, trying to figure out ways of redoing it, and the best option we came up with was just to run a Studer vent upstairs. And if you're familiar with the Studer vent, but what it does is it uses air from the room to vent down to the basement. So we want a new drain pipe that's going to go in the southwest corner of the apartment and down into the basement, and there's enough pitch to get us over to the sewer line. So that quote was a time and material for 2 days of labor, but we're gonna be helping them quite a bit, coring some holes through the floor to span creek floor. So we'll do a lot of the work, but Ubitz is working together trying to save some money, so that's worst case scenario, that quote. So
Is Blue Bullets the only one we had quoted?
it is because it was kind of an emergency thing, we wanted to work a little faster here, there was a tenants in there and there's, so when he's running his laundry, it's coming up to the kitchen sink, so we just put out, well, not to be running. You know,
So I did print you out the current fund balance allocation. What within the packet was missing the Silver Beach Road allocation that we had already approved. So this is showing everything that is not highlighted has already been approved by the board. So as you can see, adding this, it does not change. We will still be at 20% of fund balance, which is still on the top of the recommended range. So no problem in terms of us meeting that. So Pat, you're estimating that it won't go above the quote, so, then I will make a motion to approve the plumbing repairs at Main Street rental apartment.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. Go on to new business. 10A, approved Class B beer and
No.
Class,
9C.
sorry. Oh, the big one. 9C, discussion and possible action regarding legal representation agreement for PFAS litigation.
I'll give an update on this. Several months ago, the board decided not to participate in the PFAS litigation. We were, looking at, whether we even meet the class definition and because fortunately, the village walls were a non-detect. The village decided not to participate in the class action matter. The law firm, the Napoli Skolnick, apparently, two things happened. One, they didn't get like a formal message from the village stating, that we're withdrawing our participation. So one thing I'm asking is just giving the board, let me draft a letter explaining the decision of the board and advising that the village would not be participating in the class action. And two, what kind of started this discussion is they sent a proposed representation agreement amendment. So this is a class action matter, so it's a contingency fee arrangement with the law firm that's representing all this class and this kind of record this issue. They sent a letter basically stating that with 3M, the settlement with 3M proposal that hasn't been officially approved by the court is going to be something that we paid off over 10 years if approved by the court. And the original retainer agreement that was offered by this law firm didn't address what in the event settlement happens over time. So so they're asking for an amendment to their representation under their contingency fee to allow for them to get paid out of the settlement first instead of doing it over years if money is paid to claimants over time. And again, we decided, or the village decided not to participate. It just wasn't, I think, clearly communicated to the law firm. And I compared it with the original rep agreement that I didn't have when originally we were talking about this. But yeah, essentially the original rep agreement didn't address in the event you had a settlement that was structured over time, not upfront. So 3M it looks like it might be a structured settlement. Again, we're not looking at or anticipating that we would be any or even potentially qualified as a participant to get any of the settlement funds. So I'm just asking for some direction from the board or approval that I can send a letter to this firm advising the action that the board took, and we won't be participating in the we're basically withdrawing from their representation.
I'll make the motion then that the village board approve our village attorney submitting a letter of non-participation to the representative law firm.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now we'll do 10A. Approve Class B beer and Class C wine alcohol beverage license for Raymond Enterprises DBA Boots Barbecue at 117 South Royal Avenue.
I'll make the motion to approve Class B beer and Class C wine alcohol beverage license for Raymond Enterprises DBA Boots Q Boogie at 117 South Royal Avenue.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion on this? I believe you said there was a target date of April.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact date. I just was chatting with that, Bergeron actually. But she did say they're hoping to open in April.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 10B. Approve plat commission recommendation to attempt to address impediments number 2.2, 7.2, and 9.1 from the regional analysis of impediments in 2024 per the Home Consortium Mutual Corporation Agreement.
So a couple of years ago, the board agreed to join the consortium, and it's throughout Ozark and Washington County, and we were the only community in all of this area that wasn't a part of it, and it is a requirement for people who are working to get loans that are on the lower income part, that the community be a part of this. So it was, realtors asked us to consider, because they couldn't sell homes in this area to certain people because we weren't a part of that. So we joined that. Apparently every year we are supposed to pick a minimum of 2 items from this action list that they provide as intentions of things we're going to attempt to work on over the next year. So the plan commission reviewed them and picked 3 of them. The board will need to approve at minimum 2 of them. You don't have to do 3. I highlighted the ones on this sheet, which I have up on the board, that the plan commission recommended. Really, none of this is binding us to any significant action. Impediment 2.2 is encourage proper maintenance of privately owned affordable rental housing. So, we could put something on our website that, encourages landlords to maintain their property. Impediment 7.2, support fair housing enforcement, consider financially supporting agencies that host housing training in your community, create and distribute materials on fair housing to landlords and realtors. Again, distribute materials. If we get a link to something, we can put it in a newsletter or put it on our website. And then 9.1 is create or support the creation of training, counseling programs to encourage current renters to become homeowners, to increase the number of minority households in the region who are homeowners. So those were the 3 that the planning commission recommended. But again, we do need to pick at least 2 of them as our 2024 intentions. Then I make a motion to approve plan commission recommendation to attempt to address impediments number 2.2 and 7.2. I'm going to admit 9.1 now. Okay.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed? Motion passes. And C. Discussion and possible action regarding Eagle Scout project donation requests. We have a young man in the village of Belgium here that is going for his Eagle Scout badge. And he would like to build a, what is that called? A footbridge down at Harrington State Park for his Eagle project. His cost will be $600. He's asking if we want to donate toward this project. Even though it's not in the village, he's part of our village. So what do we want to do?
And that is part of, as I understand it, what the Eagle Scout project is about, is going out and soliciting donations from area businesses and such. And we've been the recipient of several, Eagle Scout projects here in the village. But yes, so,
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. A lot of people in the community use, obviously, here,
Exactly.
myself included, so.
You said the total project cost is 600?
Yes,
Yeah, he's
he
looking,
hasn't specified an amount he's asking for. It's really entirely up to the board if you want to donate, and if so, what. Do we know if he has solicited any other? I would assume the letter we got was also submitted to a lot of area businesses and such. But no, he hasn't provided us any.
Typically, they have to solicit to numerous different businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause we've funded, scout projects in the village before, and I do agree with Dan that, most of us use Harrington Beach, so we'll get benefit from that. And as a member of the tourism committee, I do know that we really hawk our connection to Harrington Beach, so, I certainly support it. It's just a matter of how much, we want to support.
what dollar value would like to put on this?
$100.
$100?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, he's showing support. You know, the sixth of the cost, right out of the gates.
Right, I'll make the motion to donate $100 to Andrew Strong for his Eagle Scout project.
Motion's are made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 10D, approve quick trip request for letter of support of National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program for Belgium Store 1281.
Pete got this request from Quick Trip, I believe from Keith, the manager here at our local, Quick Trip. They are, attempting to get grant money through this program that is being provided for putting in electric vehicle plugins at this Quick Trip. And they are requesting a letter of support from the village to help with their grant application. They have provided us a template. If you approve us doing the letter, I will use that template and add in our information where needed.
This letter was actually from Jordan Lowenhagen, administrative coordinator.
Oh.
So finance, government relations and public relations.
I
So
make a motion to approve the Quick Trip request for letter of support for National Vehicle, Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program for Belgium Store 1281, using the template provided.
Second.
motions are made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 10E, approve Huber screw rebuild from equipment replacement fund. Paul?
Well, it's where all the sewage initially comes in and it goes through like a colander type object and screens out all the stuff that we don't want to go through the plant. It's 22 years old and it's very, very wore out. So this will basically bring this piece of equipment back up to like 90%.
So we can expect another 20 years out of
I
it?
would hope so, yeah. Yes.
And since this has been with the original, build of the plant, we've already saved for it in equipment replacement, basically.
budgeted
Yeah,
already.
it's already in the fund to pay for a replacement.
I'll make a motion to approve Huber screw rebuilds from the equipment replacement fund.
I'll second.
Motions are made and seconded. Any other questions on this? Not all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes.
Oh, I have a question. Just like, did we ever hear back on the liquor license from last month that we needed some clarification?
No, I sent him a letter, and did not get a response from him yet.
So Dan,
But
can
I
we still
did
be
not
working?
send it for a couple, I think I was about 2 weeks after the meeting before I remembered to send him the letter. So it may be on the next one, but at the moment, no, we have not had any follow-up.
Can they work without that license, Dan?
Not legally.
No, they're not.
As long as there's a licensed bartender on premise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, somebody on the premise, yeah.
Yeah, that is true. They can serve if there's another licensed person.
Within sight distance.
Within
Can't be
sight?
even in a back room. They have to be like, be able to see them.
Sitting on the end of the bar. How long can we push out this acceptance that we approved last month?
We did not approve it.
Well-
We tabled it.
Contingent about it, right?
Nope, we tabled it.
Okay,
So basically, I told him it was tabled in the letter until he submits us a corrected application.
So that was like 2 weeks ago, give or take.
He would have gotten it about 2 weeks ago, so, and I haven't heard back, but, you know, he knows the ball's in his court now. At this point, he has to submit an updated, application before any action will be taken by the board.
Okay. Thank you. Now you can make it done.
Make that one, let's do it, Jerry.
I'll second.
motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Thank you all for coming.